And so like instead of directly expressing anger or saying what we really want and need, I had modeled to me a passive-aggressive way of doing things, which is you kind of deny your own needs and then you overcompensate later. And it's hard to explain, but basically she had me, my therapist knows that I'm a very visceral person and kind of a physical person, riding my bike all the time, and I'm very physical, and I learn well with sound. I'm very auditory and musical, and I learn through doing and being physical and doing physical like actions, and being a figure model is very physical, and I memorize like where I am and the position I'm in. So we had this thing where we mapped out with scarves. I chose the colors that represented. See, that's what my therapist is into. Is she's into metaphor, and like mostly we just sit and talk and share back and forth, and then she helps me. She mirrors back to me what she sees about myself, and she makes suggestions, or I tell her what I want, and then she supports me in going after my dreams and goals and accepting my fears. And I'm like really honest with her about all my mistakes in life and on my dark side, and she's a nice safe person that I can, confess all my sins to, or whatever you want to say. But we did this thing where we sit and talk, and I cry or I share whatever emotions I have, and we work through stuff. But she also she has props in her room, and really great books too that I can borrow, but she has props in her room, and she has tea. We sit and drink tea together. And she kind of lets me hang out in her office. If she doesn't have appointments after she sees me, I can hang out there and write in my journal and drink tea. So she's a very nurturing person. It's great. She's a really great healer, and she bends the rules in terms of most therapists just do 50 minutes and they're like, well, time's up. And she doesn't do that. If she has time, she lets it go on for a full hour, sometimes even 70 minutes, if there's time. She's a little bit flexible with her time with me, which I really appreciate. And so she's more of an organic, intuitive, natural kind of person. I really love that about her. So I've been seeing her off and on for 7 years. So, because I saw her for a few years, and then I stopped for like 3 years or something, and now I started seeing her again. So I'm really glad. But okay, so what we did was we did scarves on the floor, and we did, I chose how I feel when I'm passive. I mapped out my passive side, my aggressive side, and my neutral, balanced middle way, my more spiritual self, Siddhartha kind of a thing. Like black, white, and gray. The middle way, gray. So I mapped it out. I chose red scarves for my aggressive side, which is like overly, maybe that's the part of me that's overly selfish, overly kind of like a 2-year-old kid throwing a tantrum. It's mine, that doesn't want to share their toys, and it's like me, it's all about me. And it's the part of me that is just self-centered and just wants what I want, and then is overly unconcerned with how I affect other people. And the selfish part of, the very selfish part of me that's like, screw it. Because what leads to that aggressive part is the passive part. It starts with the passive part. So I mapped out the passive part. But for this passive side of me, I chose no color, nothing, no props, nothing, just empty nothingness. And I slumped down and I closed my eyes and I tiptoed very quietly, because I don't want to make any noise. I don't want to bother anybody. I don't want to get in anybody's way. So I just tiptoed and was very quiet. And she had me, and she mimicked me. She stood with me, and she's like, okay, I'm going to copy what you do. And so we both stood there and we crouched down and tiptoed, and she just wanted me to be in touch with how it feels. And what it felt like in my body was, I felt my stomach hurt, and I felt a pain and a sadness, and I almost wanted to cry right then and there. I felt sad. I felt lonely. I felt like nobody loves me. I don't even love myself. I felt like I shouldn't even be alive. I should just erase myself. You know, it's this really sad part of me that represses myself, that avoids, which is different than the part of me that wants to be alone and have solitude. That's a nurturing thing. But when I totally repress myself, it's a sad, icky feeling, and I felt really heavy in my stomach, which is my personal power area of your chakra system in your body. And so that's how it felt, the no color passive part. And then the aggressive part was like, screw that. Screw repressing myself and screw thinking that I don't matter. I matter more than anybody. And so that's the part of me, maybe the egomaniac in me, that wants to compensate for feeling passive and be really aggressive. And, you know, the part of me that has a bad temper, the part of me that doesn't really, instead of trying to resolve conflict with another person, I'm just like, forget it, you know, and I panic, or I just get really negative and angry, and then I'm just like, I'm just going to do my own thing. And it's another way. It's actually, though, that's true. I isolate with that too. I isolate when I'm really passive. I isolate. And then when I'm really aggressive, I isolate too, because I feel angry, and nobody wants to be around an angry person, you know. So I guess I push people away with my aggressive side, with my grumpy, aggressive side. And so her and I acted that out. I got up and we acted it out. Like I had a bunch of red scarves, and it was like, like a lava, like hot, melty lava. And it was like, like I felt like a dragon. And so her and I yelled, and we went, and we kind of screamed a little bit in her therapy office. And so then we stomped around, and we were like kicking, pretending like we were going to kick something, and we were stomping and just being like obnoxious and loud and aggressive and angry, and nobody wanted to be around us when we were like that. So that's part. And then there's the passive part, which is no color. There's the aggressive part of me, which is red hot lava burning, and maybe some gray ash burning. And then there's the middle way, and I chose white for that. It's funny, when I was younger, I didn't like white. I thought, ugh, everybody likes white. I don't like white. But now, the older I get, the more I love white, because white has all colors in it, and it reflects light, and it's refreshing white. And so and it's nice and pure, and it's like a blank canvas, and it's just like, you know, symbolic of blank canvas, clean slate, anything is possible, and it's bright, and it's got, you know, potential for anything. It's flexible and bendable, and it's got this nice feeling to it. So I chose white, and so I took a white scarf, and then we walked around embodying that part of myself, which was, I would consider that, I'm not a religious person, but I'm spiritual, meaning I feel like what God is nature and the universe creating itself, and I feel like there's energy in the universe that is strong and neutral and always there, and it's, instead of the roller coaster, the up and down of life, birth and death, and happiness and sadness, and, you know, the roller coaster of life, male, female, happy, sad, the duality of everything. You know, that's things constantly changing, things arise and pass away. And to me, God or spirit or whatever is beyond that, and that's beyond duality. And it would be like beyond yin and yang. So to me, God is like an embodiment of the whole universe creating itself, and it's kind of like my thoughts and feelings and ideas and my ego or whatever is just clouds in the sky, whereas God is the entire sky, the empty, open sky, and then the clouds blowing in the sky. So when I embodied that, the white middle way, the way I moved my body was I felt centered and grounded, and I felt neutral. I felt kind of equanimous. I felt kind of like I could be happy or sad, and it could change, happy, sad, in between, and it didn't matter, because the part that I was in touch with, the God part or the spirit part, was just stable and never changing, and it was always stable. And that's the paradox, is that the God part is invisible and silent, and yet it's there.